Welcome back to Stretford, Paddock. This is the Manchester United versus Everton review, and we have just drawn 2-2, but we have won the trophy. We are Summer Series champions. Clap. Why are you being a killjoy now, Andy? You was buzzing a second ago when we had the silverware.
Ultimate Starbucks refills now.
Now we've drawn 2-2. We've titled it Tough Battle.
Unbeaten pre-season.
We're unbeaten in pre-season, so we'll start with the positives first. Do you know what I mean? Because we want to be a little bit more positive because we haven't lost in the pre-season.
Nope.
I think the performances in totality have been a little bit better than we've seen last season. So there is a bit of hope there. And you've seen a bit of combination to start the game as well with Cunha and Bruno and then Bumo, and obviously when they get up to speed, that will obviously get a lot better. I think there were some issues. I think left wing back with the low starting instead of Dorgu. I feel like that was a huge difference in terms of like ability, quality, and obviously balance as well. I think physicality wise, we struggled against Everton in the second half a bit. I think we definitely have some midfield issues. I think there's still a bit of a gap there when it comes to midfield. I've been advocating for United signing midfield for however long, but 2-2. Some positives. I kind of want to hear what you lads say about it. I want to hear what people in the chat say about it as well. Obviously, we won the trophy. I've joked about that. I know it's Arsenal game week 1 is what really matters, and the performances leading on from that. But I'd like to know what you lads think about. Instead of watching the TV, both of you, I'd like to know what you actually think about the game.
Oh, I mean, last game of pre-season, there was, as you say, there was. We said throughout there was moments, weren't there? There was a few nice combinations. I don't want to harp on about the pitch, but I feel like, the difficult conditions, and it'd be interesting to see next week when we're back the next game back at Old Trafford. I saw enough there, certainly in attacking parts of the pitch, with some of the combinations there that it just looked more like we were comfortable in knowing where we. There's a lot of times I watch United over the past couple of years, and I feel like when they get the ball at the top end of the pitch, no one necessarily knows what the next move is. No one knows. It's all off the cuff. It didn't feel as off the cuff at times today.
No, it didn't.
They didn't get it right as much as I would have liked. And as you say, there were still some issues in the midfield, but definitely positives there. Definitely looking at that, thinking that when we do inevitably step it up, when the real games come, there's reasons to be positive.
Yeah, I do think that as well. From an attacking point of view, it's been more lively, more creative.
Definitely.
And where we've done well in certain situations, but I think it's been a tough battle. It just feels just like the way when we played at Goodison Park. United played in patches today, and the midfield, defensively as well, there is some niggles that need to be addressed.
It's the bringing it on themselves is the problem. It's that some too often shoot themselves in the foot. We didn't get punished all the time, did we? With a lot of mistakes.
I mean, both goals today quite preventable. The warning signs were there, and they were still not registering. But from a creative attacking, we were good in bits in the first half, and the second half as well. We had 1 or 2 chances. Patrice near the end as well had a chance to get the winner.
Very good second goal from Mason Mount.
Yeah, shades of Atletico Bilbao that goal. Yeah,
he had a nice pass, didn't he, as well for Dorgu, who came on and did. It's always tricky coming on late in these friendly games with all the changes.
Good turn of finish. I think Mason Mount had a good cameo. I think he's looked lively for the most part in this pre-season. Someone in the chat says, and Bumo doesn't look quite 100%. Hope he's all right for Arsenal. Yeah, I think that's his first action since the end of the season. I don't think his pre-season has been anywhere near as long as most of the United players. So that's why he only got the first 45 minutes. But you could still see, he had a couple of rusty moments, but you could see glimpses of his quality. I think when he gets in his condition and gets up to speed, I've got no doubts that there's a player there. But what I will say is we have spoke a couple of positives in terms of the combination play at times. We will speak about some of the issues that we have seen, and it is the midfield composition, and I think we are still massively lacking in that area. And I think for the second game in a row, we've conceded a goal from Ugarte losing a ball, because for all the talk last season, and I think there's a large part of the fan base that are very, really insecure and sensitive about Ugarte criticism. Yeah, but we know his deficiencies on the ball, and he's not great in that area. He's just a ball winner. And I think we do need to improve on him in that area, and I think we need better midfielders in there, and I think there's no harm in saying that, because what you can't afford to have is a player that's that much of a liability
I agree.
on the ball. And I think if you have him, you need someone that can almost like ease that burden from him, because you know he's not capable of doing it, so you can't play to his weaknesses, because it's too often now, like, and I think what happens is he gets in his head, he loses the ball, and then he has like a 10-15 minute spell where he can't do anything right. Do you know what I mean? And I think his head gets a little bit kettled then.
I don't know if you can have someone next to him that takes the burden off him though, because I think what United are trying to do, if he's a weakness on the ball, that is just going to be targeted. You know, we're trying to bring the ball out, and he's I don't want to pile on, but it's...
Yeah, he was a factor in the second half, because he did have a 10-15 minutes when he was all over the place.
You do need... Ideally, you want a player that can win the ball back and do
Strong
everything that he
midfielder.
does so well, but can't be so limited when he's being asked to carry
You
the
can't
ball out.
nanny him.
And
He's got to be his own player. He's got to cut these mistakes out.
because the way teams press now, he's under pressure here on a few yards outside his own box, and I always worry when I see him with the ball under his feet and thinking, what's he going to do? Is he going to find a way out? He just kick it for touch, do something, but inevitably possession gets turned over, and it's...
I think with Ugarte is we play with a midfield too, don't we? A midfield pivot. I don't think he's suited to that at all.
No.
I think he's a midfield free player where he's almost like he plays as you've got like almost like he's an 8 where with a 6 behind him, but he's someone that can release and go press and hunt people down. I think that's where he's probably better. I think when in midfield, because he even talks about his ability defensively, I still feel like he gives way too many fouls away. I think he doesn't decelerate enough sometimes when he goes to challenge people and just clatters people too often. And sometimes he can get bypassed as well. So it's not even like he's brilliant defensively. He's decent, he battles and he's got dog in him and he's got good character.
Some games I've seen him where he's everywhere.
But he's a limited footballer, but who's not aided by obviously the system of what's required from your midfield too under Amorim as well. Because you do remember, I think Amorim only had him for one season, he went to PSG. And obviously the Portuguese leagues is very different. But obviously I don't want to just pile on him as well. Obviously I've spoke at length about what I think about him in terms of his limitations, and it kind of reared its ugly head again today. But I don't think he was the only one that had a bit of an off game as well. I think Delo, I don't think I've ever seen Delo have a good game, left wing back for one. I know people
He's definitely in the wrong position.
Ever.
Definitely in the wrong position. I think De Ligt had a bit of a wobbler as well.
What do you think of the football though? I think there was a lot of poor touches, and I think there was long stretches that game that was really poor.
The concentration level.
Do you think it was the pitch though? I think the pitch aided it.
I think so.
I think quality, you can't use the pitch as an excuse of professional footballers getting paid a fortune, but I think the pitch worsened it. But at the same time, I think there was a lot of inexcusable poor.
No control on the ball.
Yeah.
United couldn't string any sort of passes together. And when we did get going, it was just in little flashes, like with Bruno when setting up for the goal.
But speaking of Bruno, though, I mean, he's another one that sometimes when it gets a little bit choppy, you're looking for someone to calm it down, and he does what he does on occasion, where he sometimes aids it a little bit with some loose passing of his own at a time in the game when you really just want to calm it down. I think there's a few times where Ugarte wasn't having a brilliant few minutes and Bruno puts him under pressure. It's things that we've seen before, just not managing these periods in games very well, where we bring the pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, because Bruno dropped into midfield, and then obviously he's got a risky type of play style, and he gets caught on the ball by Ndiaye, he kicks out at him as well, and then we go and concede, and then it's 2-2.
Ridiculous.
So it's like two avoidable goals. It was giveaway from Bruno, giveaway from Ugarte, and you get punished by Premier League sides. But I think for the most part, there's positives from the pre-season. I think we looked physically better. I think today was the first time that we looked a bit second best physically. I think that's. But I think you're not going to play against Everton. Everton are literally a side of basketballers. It looked like as well. They were huge. And
very physical team.
Very physical, very strong. So I think
they
equalised it a lot, and you know you're going to get that from David Moyes. But I will shout out Dorgu. I thought he was good again. I think he's had a great pre-season. And it's all. I think pre-season's not over yet. It feels like it is just because it's the US tour. We've got Fiorentina next week, and then it's game week 1 before you know it against Arsenal. Hope we get more minutes in the legs of our front players, and we kind of probably get another couple of heads in, because I think we need a midfielder or we need a striker. I'm going to ask people in the comments again before we sign off, and ask you as well, because you've seen us linked to Sesko. We haven't really seen that many midfield links. Would you sign off the back of the 3 pre-season games? What would you prioritise? A striker or a midfielder? What would you reckon?
Or a goalkeeper.
Goalkeeper, Bayern Day is not good enough, and Tom Heaton can
you're talking three positions.
I just don't see how Tom Heaton goes.
What do you feel? What do you feel? For me, it have to be the goalkeeper as well as the midfielder.
It's just all the noise you're hearing is the striker position. So it's almost like, and I know we need a goalkeeper, and I personally think a midfielder would be the most transformative signing. But it seems that they must have had a look at what's available, what they've got to work with, also what they can move out. And the striker seems to be the one that if we do make a change,
yes,
it's going to be that.
But anyway,
screaming out for it.
I'll sign it off there. It's just gone past midnight.
That's nice, isn't it?
So that should we just give ourselves all a round of applause for the fact that we've done a couple of watch-alongs now. Really, really late night for the people. The dedication, producers behind the cam as well. Harvey, I'll shout you out. I'm just taking a risk. I'm not going to shout Vinny out as well. Like Fraser ran there as well. But thanks for joining us anyway. That is the Manchester United versus Everton review. We had a summer series champions, so we've already got silverware going into the season.
It's got a nice ring
at some point. Still got stuff to iron out. There's still some issues there, but there's still enough positives, and we've obviously got quality again in the forward line. We're going to see who United bring in before the transfer window closes, but we're going to sign out there.
Yep.
Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you later.